let us chronicle some areas of successes recorded against Fulani Militias in Nigeria, particularly by local hunters in recent time. We understand that this has been a very big issue in Nigeria because only recently when the governor of Plateau State will make a proposal to the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review to include state police, you understand that Fulani in that state rejected and vehemently opposed it. But this first one I'm bringing you is from Punch, where it's saying hunters arrest 2 suspected kidnappers in Ondo. You go further to say that 2 members of a kidnap syndicate were arrested on Friday in our community, the headquarters of our local government area of Ondo State. This was made known in a video posted on the Facebook page of one Ogbomosho Sugar. What we are saying here is simple, that it's high time we rejig our secretariat church, or we change the way we address it, because for what we are saying, it appears that the locals have what it takes, the better understanding of how to address this. We equally understand that there are some areas where the military have registered a huge success, which I will shortly bring to your notice. But before we do that, let us equally look at this one that is coming from Daily Post. This one is from the Axis of Kogi, where locals equally register serious advantage against the kidnappers. This one is saying, hunters rescue 5 kidnapped victims, gunned down bandit in Kogi. You go further to say that a team of local hunters in Bunu local government area has rescued 5 kidnapped victims and thwarted a kidnapping attempt in Tata Bunu community, Kogi State. The hunters also succeeded in killing one of the suspected bandits, while others escaped with bullet wounds. So you can clearly understand that the locals who better understand the terrain is in a better position to address most of these challenges, because 1, they know all the terrain, and 2, they know when strangers come into their midst. And of course, even the Director General of DSL recently echoed this, that it is high time communities should be empowered to be the first line of defense in case of invasion. I think we're already seeing communities rising to the occasion to do the job better. So I think this goes to show that the government must think in the direction of allowing the locals to actively participate in the issue of security, particularly as it has to do with bandits. But meanwhile, let me bring this one. I will bring a video, of course, where some bandits, about 2 bandits, were captured in Ogbomosho. I think that is Oyo State. That happened recently, but not this month anyway. But before we do that, let us look at this area where the military equally registered huge success against bandits, because we are looking at ways to proffer solution to bring an end to this lingering issue that is causing everybody sleepless night. This one I'm reading from Daily Post. It said Nigerian Air Force destroyed bandit convoy, disrupt escape routes in Zamara. This one is coming from Zamara. You go further to say that the Nigerian Air Force has neutralized scores of armed bandits in a series of precision airstrikes conducted on 9 July 2025, targeting a migrating convoy along the Kebbi-Zamfara axis. Air Commander Ehime Jordamne, Director of Public Relations and Information Headquarters, Nigerian Air Force, in a statement said the strikes were based on real-time intelligence, which revealed the movement of close to 150 motorcycles in batches, each carrying about 2 armed terrorists near Yabuga in Maru local government area of Zamfara State. I think this is a good one, because wherever it comes from, whether from the local vigilantes, whether from the police, whether from the army, whether from the Air Force, what we need is a concerted effort to deal with this emerging threat, because it's an evil wind that blow no one good. I think all hands must be on deck to make sure we deal with this. But meanwhile, let me allow you to watch this video the moment a terrorist, a bandit from the Fulani extraction, you can clearly see from their face, was captured by youths in Ogbomosho. We'll come back to further this conversation after this time out.
ọmọ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ẹ má sùn o, àwọn Fúlàní ni o, olórí ibú àtàwọn bòrò wọ́n ti pààyàn sínú oko inú ilé. Ẹ má sùn o, ẹ má sùn o, ẹ̀yin Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ ẹ má sùn o, ẹ má sùn o, ẹ má sùn o, àwọn rèé o, àwọn rèé o, àwọn ọ̀daràn rèé o.
So you can clearly see from what we are saying that this is an evil wind that blow no one any good. Record that the other time I made it very clear that the earlier we address this is better. So you don't get to the point where the people from certain part of the country will see it as a way of life. Like I said the other time, the issue of Boko Haram started like a child's play. It started when Muhammad was arrested, and at the end of the day, it turned out that Boko Haram have become a global phenomenon. And as it stands, people in those places like Borno are even seeing it as a way of life. Hence, they are seeing people who are engaged in it, perhaps living in affluence and making money. And again, I think what is worrisome is we are dealing with internal aggression. This is not an external aggression, because even the governor of Zamara State made it very clear that bandits that operate in his environment, in his state, are people who they can identify their origin, identify where they came from. So it's going to show that actually we are dealing with internal aggression, not external aggression. So to that extent, we must be ready to address it as quickly as possible before it takes its root in the southern part of the country. Because in recent time, we have equally seen some kidnappers who will be arrested, and of course, they will turn out to be Satanists. So it's good to show that the earlier this is addressed, the better. But again, let me quickly say that the angle the Fulani come from is worrisome. Because in most cases, we have seen stakeholders coming out to say this is not herders whose community clashes. Like what happened in Boko and Bassa local government area or areas of Plateau State. The governor, Mufwan, was very emphatic, unequivocal, that this has nothing to do with host communities and herders clashes. That is a purely genocidal Fulani invasion of communities, an attempt to wipe out a race and a people. Of course, when the president visited Benue recently in the wake of the attack that happened in Guma local government area, where over 200 persons were disalived by Fulani Militias. Of course, a monarch that addressed the president made it very clear that this has nothing to do with clashes between herders and whole communities or anything that has to do with the president attack. That this is purely genocide in nature. So it's becoming very clear where the angle they are coming from. Because if their intention is to wipe out a people, I think the government must empower the states. That is where we must think out of the box. That there's every need for state police. That even brings me to the point of what happened recently. Because we understand that the governor of Plateau State, Mufwan, made a proposal to the House Committee, Senate Committee on Constitutional Review, while they visited his zone for the purpose of getting input from the public. And the governor made that proposal. But the Mietiala Magban chapter of Plateau State came out openly to oppose state police. Now you begin to wonder, if everybody have agreed that state police is the way to go, of course, looking at the way the security is being managed, even the General Justice recently made it very clear that the communities should be empowered to be the first line of defense. Now you begin to wonder, why will a group of people start opposing state police? You got to show that they know much about what is happening. So I think the security agencies ought to even call them for questioning. Because for me, state police is part of the panacea to solve this problem. And again, even all of this we are talking about was already resolved if we had allowed the Aburi Accord to stand. Because the issue of state police was already captured in it. The issue of decentralization of, not just state police anyway, decentralization of the policing system, even the decentralization of the military was already captured in the Aburi Accord. But again, we equally note that in Sultan 2024, even Fulani as a people, under the umbrella of Fulani, under the umbrella of Mietiala, approached Southeastern governors. When I mean Southeastern governors, I'm talking about states of Enugu, Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi, and Abia, seeking to establish vigilante group in their region. Though the governors vehemently rejected it. But if you to ask, what will give them that boldness, that temerity, that boldness to say you are coming to someone's region to approach him to enable you to establish security outfit, whether I call it vigilante or whatever name it goes by. Whether you say you want to use it to protect your people, you begin to wonder why should somebody have that boldness to confront state governors for such proposal. And again, we understand that someone like Bodejo have been arrested twice. The first instance, he was charged to court, talking about the chairman of Mietiala. He was charged to court, but at the point, the government, through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, dropped the charges and he was let go. But recently, he has been arrested and he has been accused of banditry. And this time around, the military, or rather the federal government, have already secured a court order to enable them to keep him for 2 months to enable them to conclude investigation. So you begin to wonder if the only one ethnic group is always accused, not just accused, because all evidence are bound. Each time they are arrested, you can clearly see their face. We saw one that was arrested in Anapete area of Edo State recently. You can clearly see the face, the voice, and know that yes, this is where this person is coming from. We saw the one that was arrested in Delta the other time. You can see where they are coming from. From different parts of the country, you can clearly see that, yes, this is where they are coming from. And another issue is, why is government not able to address this? We are seeing under the last administration where the government will make every frantic effort to make laws, policies that look as if their intention is to favor the same ethnic group. Talking about when they mentioned the issue of Ruga, though the people rejected it, because for me, I don't see any area where Ruga will fester in the southern part of the country. I have not seen any community that will allow Fulani to take land for Ruga. Even if you say the state governors hold the land in trust on behalf of the people, but I don't think there's any governor in the southern part of the country that will allow land, to cede land for Ruga. Because one thing is certain, the Fulani is known for, once you give them an inch of land, certainly there's every tendency that that place become a settlement. Before you know it, it turns into a community. Before you know it, you cannot ask them to leave. That is what we are seeing in different parts of the country. We equally saw the attempt of the federal government under the last administration to come up with water resources bill, which was equally rejected by the people. So the point is, a problem has been identified. If the movement of cow is the issue, now people should ranch their cow. And in doing so, you must use your money to bankroll it, because it's your personal business. If it means going to the bank to secure credit facility to do so, as time goes on, the bank will recruit their money. I don't think there's anything wrong about that. We understand that in the past, it was only Benue State under Governor Autumn and Ekiti State under Governor Fayoshe that established anti-open grazing laws. It was partially enforced during their time, but currently, I don't know the level of enforcement. But a shocking revelation came from Zamara Autumn recently, that even as at the time he established that, they enacted that law, anti-open grazing in Benue State, that there were attempts to force him or rather to influence him to repeat the law by promising him a loan, an interest-free loan of about 90 billion to enable him offset salary arrears of persons from Benue State, workers from Benue State, and again, some part of it, about 40-something billion, to enable him go for infrastructural development, which according to him, he resisted. Don't forget that the same Zamara autumn, as a governor of Benue State, faced attempted assassination from a group of Fulani that goes by Fulani Nationality Movement. And at the time, they even boasted that the governor was lucky, that next time he may not be lucky. I think after that time, he became more circumspect about his movement and his security. But holistically speaking, I think we must, as a matter of urgency and necessity, think out of the box to address this issue. Because to continue doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result is a mirage that have been proven not possible. Because the way it is, if all we do is reactionary, that we see. We saw the killing in Bokos and Basa local government area of Plateau State. Everybody gathered, show empathy, reaction followed, the people reacted to the causes of those who were disallowed to the government house. It was condemned, and up to today, it's not a record that anybody is under prosecution, and it ends like that. We saw the one that recently happened in Benue State of a greater monumental dimension. It was condemned. There were reactions that followed it. The president visited. At the end of the day, the police made us understand that some arrests have been made, and up to today, no information in the media space, what is happening to the suspects, whether they are being prosecuted to other deterrents or others, and all that. And I hope and believe we are not going to expect another one to happen, because when it happens, all we see is reaction. So what I'm saying in essence is there should be proactive measure to forestall this, because there should be intelligence gathering. You understand that the DSS have mandate of intelligence gathering, and of course, when they gather such intelligence, they should be able to share it with other agencies of government that are doing the operation in the field. Because if you don't have actionable intelligence that pays off, and even the bandits are even getting better intelligence, where they come, make some point by maybe disaliving people, go back to their hideout. Of course, if you continue, it will be a vicious circle that will not end. The only way to end is for us to be proactive. And to be proactive is to think out of the box. To think out of the box is to refuse doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Because definitely, there's no way you get a different result if you continue recycling the same idea, the same procedure, the same operation like we are seeing currently. So let us think out of the box as a panacea for this problem. Thank you very much.